What's up, everyone? Welcome back to No Cap Space. Tyler and Greer here. And even though there's no playoff games today, the W wasn't going to keep us away. It just wasn't going to happen. And today, Greer, it's not just necessarily the W that's getting us back to work. No days off here at the No Cap Space. Not the playoff-a-thon, goodness. It's the NBA. Greer, Adam Silver.
Big dog.
We've been waiting. I think that there has been, for better or mainly for worse, the NBA is a major player and stakeholder in everything that is going down between Nafisa Collier, Cathy Engelbert, the league and the players, everything involved in this. Ultimately, the biggest stakeholder of all is the umbrella that is the NBA, the ownership, so on and so forth. And Greer, we heard from Adam Silver for the very first time today, and we're gonna get through these comments. We're gonna get through these quotes. I'll tell you right now, to me, they didn't come off as very strong-willed, is how I will put it. But let's dive into it. This is the headline here from ESPN. The CBA will get done, but we got work to do. Relationships must be repaired. And I think that's a very fair assessment from Mr. Commissioner. And obviously, as we kind of just scroll through this article here, you kind of get the general synopsis of what has gone down here. And here's the first quote from Silver. There's no question that the WNBA is going through growing pains, and it's unfortunate that it's coming just as their most important games and their finals are on right now. We've had two fantastic games so far, and we want to celebrate the game at the moment, and then we've got to sit down with the players and negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement. And then the next paragraph is just the October 31st deadline. It is quickly approaching, so frankly, there's not much time to celebrate these games with that deadline approaching. I guess to me that it's not.
We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Adam.
Yeah.
We're
it's
capable.
Unfortunate to me.
Yeah. I'm capable of celebrating two of the game's best right now in Asia Wilson and Alyssa Thomas, and also worrying about their long-term economic. I don't know what to call it, but like we can do two things at once.
Yeah. I mean. And it's also a league from a player perspective that has certainly shown that they can do that. In terms of like whatever's going on off the court, whether it be like the
we're here every night, Adam.
Come on now.
We've been here every night. What you talking about?
Come on. If we could be here every night live after games, we can have conversations during the day and play a game at night. And especially when it's like realistically, obviously it's not a big.
I feel like there's no better time.
Like this is the time to do it when because as soon as you kind of fade out into the attention, then maybe that's what the league would want, is when these games and this coverage isn't actively happening to have these conversations. But to me, this immediately is like maybe not a full-on red flag, but like, what do you mean?
You feel this way when you're losing in the court of public opinion, probably.
Mm-hmm.
If it was reversed, if shoe was on the other foot, I think the players are pretty happy that we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Right. Even a player like Kalia Copper, who's locked in on the finals, is down 0-2, right? Has said, like, I rock with everything Fee said. I am focused on the finals, and as soon as it's over, you're going to hear from me.
Yeah. Like I completely agree. If this was the other way around, I don't think that the league would be trying to slow the pace of conversation and the dialogue happening here. I completely agree with that.
And the deadline's at the end of the month, 25 days away from now. If not now, when?
Exactly. That's like, I mean, if you haven't done this already, and frankly, that's why there probably should have been way more discussion over the summer, which then it felt like just from what we had heard from players and everything that it seems like we had. Because when we were at All-Star, it felt like we were still at stage one, like the very beginning of at least no progress had been made. Obviously, conversations had been had, but like it seemed like there was literally no progress that had been made at All-Star when we were there with boots on the ground. When we heard from Cathy Engelbert there in person, like it didn't seem like it. And it certainly was a shared sentiment. Again, differing views on maybe where they stood, but ultimately it felt like not a lot of progress had been made. And now we sit here in October, deadline looming just weeks away, and it feels like we're in the same exact spot. If not worse, we're actually in a worse spot, frankly. But to continue with Adam Silver's quote here, and I think that this is probably the biggest quote from this article about kind of where things stand and where Cathy Engelbert stands with the future as WNBA commissioner. The quote is here from Commissioner Silver. Cathy Engelbert has presided over historic growth in the league, but there's no question that there's issues that we need to address with our players, not just economic. Yes. There's relationship issues as well. I'm confident we can fix those over time, and the league can continue to be on the rocket trajectory that it's on right now. Yeah, certainly not ignoring everything that we've had, which is a good thing. I like that there is some level of addressing that. But yes, Cathy has been here through historic growth. I do wonder, and like I'd have to like really kind of sit down and think about it before like just dropping the take. Like the percentage of that is Cathy and the work of the league and the commissioner versus women's basketball talent and the players and the star power that has caught up, and now people are like respecting it in a new way that has never been respected in before, whether it be Stewie in Asia and kind of like really kind of laying this groundwork of like this generation before the Caitlins and Angels and Paiges and obviously the college ranks of like Juju and whatnot as well feeding into it. Your thoughts on this quote? Because I mean, I think it certainly obviously is highlighting the relationship aspect of this, and that is where Cathy Engelbert feels to be struggling the most right now.
Yeah. Hard to refute what he said, right? Like we've heard it out the player's mouth at this point too, that they also agree. I do want to acknowledge, and I think even Afisa did this in her comments, like Cathy has a very, very, very difficult job. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to minimize, because like what I don't want to have happen to this conversation is like, it's important because Cathy made this distinction in her remarks to the press on Friday about how this is her 40th year in business, right? And she's really proud of like everything that she's accomplished in her time as a professional. Because I do like I don't want this conversation to like go in the way of, oh, the WNBA loses. Like it's just easy to just pick misogyny as like the first reaction, right? Even with Cathy, like even and like systems like that are so insidious that even women will do it to each other, right? You don't even need men present for shit to keep living. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't disagree, but if Adam is like the one steering the big ship, right? And let's say the WNBA is like the tugboat behind, right?
Sure.
Have you known about the relationship piece before this week or last?
Yes, that is my question as well. We are step in that. Because that's what it kind of gives to me, is that this is like obviously Fee is what has brought this to light in this whole situation. This to me gives off more of that there is more than just Fee. And obviously it's one thing if it's like, okay, we know we have this relationship problem with Fee and Cathy, and it's very public. It's been highly covered. It is broken containment in a unique way, and WNBA players are backing Fee. That's not what this gives to me. This to me gives that there's relationship problems, period. And Greer, you were talking about it beforehand, with like Sabrina's quote, talking about like, yeah, I'm tight with Adam Silver, but like me and Cathy, like we don't like talk like that. And that's not, obviously Sabrina's in a pretty unique situation with her involvement with NBA stuff, with like All-Star Weekend and stuff like that. But like, that's not what you want to be hearing from like one of your biggest names.
And also it's like, I was set up to fail in the first place, because if you're ultimately the person that I have to report to, everything I'm doing is through the prism of wait until Adam finds out. Let me tell Adam. You know what I mean? Like, I read the quotes about like installing a commissioner when in previous years people had only been WNBA presidents and not commissioners, but it does feel like a title in name only in a lot of ways. If like ultimately we're here doing a video about what Adam Silver said. Yeah.
And it carries a whole lot of weight and weight that, to your point, feels like we are asking the question. I came into this article asking the question, what is Adam Silver going to do about Cathy Engelbert? One way or the other, whether it's nothing or something. And to your point, that's the dynamic at play here between the NBA and the WNBA as a whole, right? But also in the kind of microcosm, if you will, between the two commissioners here. Continuing on here, Derek Fisher, not a name.
Hello, friend.
Old up. If you are a new WNBA fan, and we welcome you with open arms here at No Cap Space. No, it's hard to even begin on.
It's
like
probably for the best that you were not around during the Derek Fisher era. If I'm just keeping it again.
Yeah, just not someone that from a WNBA perspective, to keep it short and we kind of continue on. Not someone that I would mark as like this is someone I trust to be a spokesperson for the W and how the WNBA feels. And also, as it says here, the president of the NBPA in 2011, when they had their lockout, notably got cooked throughout a lot of that. Like, was not like some heralded like, man, he did his thing with it. No. And so like in both positions here, both as former Players Association president and former WNBA coach and spokesperson now, if you will, like whatever this is happening here, when this happens, notably at the NBC Sports headquarters, like so it wasn't like Derek Fisher was there to talk about the WNBA per se. He's just a part of the NBC coverage, which will include the WNBA here going forward, as you see there, WNBA Finals in 2026. But yeah, just to kind of paint a very general picture here without diving fully into like the lore of everything, Derek Fisher is not exactly someone I would want as the WNBA spokesperson on something like this. So we're certainly going to go through the comments. We'll see what he says. But ultimately, we're here for Adam Silver and what Adam Silver had to say, because Derek Fisher doesn't have any power within any of this and has obviously experienced the WNBA and experienced it at a time with lower investment and so on and so forth than what we are at now. And so he saw that side of it. But again, you ask any older WNBA fan about Derek Fisher, and they'll probably laugh because that's exactly what I did when I saw his name pop up in this article. But let's get into it. So it's not the norm, but those are the feelings at the times. Talking about the way Collier essentially just kind of put the ether beat behind her comments on Cathy. Whenever you're in the heat of high stakes negotiations and conversations and discussions, it reaches a level of distrust, sometimes misunderstandings due to miscommunication or poor communication. But ultimately, until you reach an agreement, there is a very adversarial nature to it until you come back together. See, to me, that's almost like reiterating what Cathy said about like that this was like a miscommunication between herself and Fee and like what the comments were, and that this was like Fee lying, to kind of put it plainly. That's what that gives to me. Again, ultimately, Derek Fisher has no power here in comparison to what we're talking about Adam Silver. But if this is going to be someone that's speaking as an authority on the WNBA, the comments matter and hold some degree of weight. And I just don't really like agree with the kind of formatting here of the miscommunication aspect here, because I don't think that's not what Fee was saying. And that's really not to a degree what Cathy was saying here. She said, I just didn't say that. So it's not even like miscommunication. It's two different stories being told, which is a little bit of a higher level to me than just poor communication with that. What are your thoughts on that block there?
Some crazy, my doorbell just rang. Wow. It's Derek Fisher. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts, but yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying, and just in his experience, like, yeah, back in 2011, 2010, like when we're arguing over how we're about to split $1 and I want 51 cents, but you really want to give me 49. Yeah. We might say things or do things that in other arenas like wouldn't fly, but I have no problem with it. Like, again, if the players, they just have to look out for their own interests.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, to me, that is kind of just an interesting one. But getting back to Adam Silver here, again, the more important piece of this article, just kind of putting it plainly here, this is ultimately like what matters to a degree, because obviously there is no change directly happening with Cathy Engelbert right now. It's not like she's being forced out as commissioner in this moment or is being relieved of her, anything of that nature. We will get a deal done with the players. Adam Silver says lots of work left to be done, but we'll of course get a new CBA. I mean, sure. Like that's what we're here to do. Notably to me, again, it's not, I trust Cathy to like get this done. Like it feels like there's not
a lot of votes of confidence.
No,
who's going to be a part of making sure that gets completed.
Yeah, that's where I just kind of continue to be in all this. And again, obviously we can include Cathy, so it's not saying that she's out or anything of that. But in terms of like, again, just none of these statements feel very strong in terms of like, I'm with Cathy. Like there's none of that at all within any of this. And that might be hedging bets a little bit in terms of like trying to maybe keep the players like where if Cathy isn't here, then like the NBA kind of steps in to be the negotiator here. If that's the way that this goes, maybe trying to hedge the bet a little bit, but again, just not confident in Cathy really whatsoever. Just to finish up here, one more quote from Derek Fisher. Fisher said he can sense that the WNBA players feel they have not been valued enough and have a disconnect with league's management. What a genius. I think the W could have been at this point sooner. Fisher said Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese kind of reaccelerated the growth, but this league has always been a special league. And so I think that the players are just saying we can't allow some of the things that have taken place in our previous 27-year history. We don't want to leave the girls over the next 20 years in the position that we were in when we had no leverage. Sure. Shout out to you, Derek Fisher. Welcome back to the WNBA Discord. I don't really have much to add on that one. I mean, I think we've talked about that plenty. The difference in leverage and the difference in if the WNBA was to go up in smoke today, there's options that just never existed, especially stateside, for players to just be able to again just make a living playing basketball. Like there's not that fear of not having that anymore. Any close thoughts on what Silver said? Again, to me, it's that my thought that I'm leaving here with is not a very strong support in what could have been an important moment.
Hey, Cathy, watch your back. That's my parting thought.
Yeah, watch it, because I'm not moved in the sense of what this support level is from the NBA side, and certainly it's not there on the player side. And when you lose both of those, then I don't know what to do for you. But that'll do it here for us at No Cap Space. Again, we're going to be following this story with the CBA all throughout. I mean, we are absolutely locked in. Of course, the playoff-a-thon continues. We're live after every WNBA Finals game. We've been live for every playoff game. So if you haven't been able to tap in, make sure you get tapped in before the WNBA Finals end. It's been a blast. And then it's straight into NCAA. There is no days off whatsoever. Of course, NoCapSpaceWBB.com. Everything down below in the description. Make sure you're subscribed here to be notified when we go live and post videos, and we'll talk soon.